Hello, all! Nathan Hillenbrand here to narrate the visual elements of my historic preservation research project, the Harada House, a public history argument for preservation. So, even if you haven't experienced the rigors of having a site designated as a National Historical Landmark, you can certainly gather from the fact that there are only around 2,600 nationwide that it is a high bar to clear. So how did this unassuming California home, the topic of my research, make it into such a rarefied club? Obviously, it has no stunning architectural or horticultural features, nor was any important person born here, secret meetings held here, or political party born here. It is what it appears to be, a small wooden cottage originally built in 1884 and bought and renovated by Japanese immigrant Jukichi Harada in the name of his 3 American-born children, because at that time, in 1916, only American citizens, or people who were allowed to become naturalized citizens, which did not include the Japanese, could own property under California's 1913 Alien Land Law. After his 5-year-old son tragically died from diphtheria in the cramped conditions of their small rental quarters, Mr. Harada had decided he wanted to raise his children in a nice neighborhood where they could be healthy. He was accused of evading the law in order to buy land and brought into the county court. During the case, Mr. Harada said, quote, "I have lived in America now a long time. My heart is American. All my sympathies are American. I think American, but the law will not let me become an American. We do not mean to do harm to anyone, but I think we have the right to place our children in the proper surroundings where they will not be sick." End quote. The judge ruled that Mr. Harada had acted in good faith, that this was a real loophole in the law, and that little Mine, Sumi, and Yoshizo Harada were real citizens, and it did not matter who their parents were. The main reason this house was later chosen as a national landmark was that Mr. Harada's defense was the first successful challenge to an alien land law, and it resulted in an important affirmation of equality under the law for all American citizens, regardless of ethnicity. Jukichi Harada was hardworking and showed his pride and love of his new country by calling his business the Washington Restaurant and serving all American fare. He grew his business, acquiring various rental properties. Other than having been involved in a milestone legal case, until May 23, 1942, this was just another hardworking immigrant family that had successfully assimilated and become an integral and valued part of their American neighborhood, providing services to people of all backgrounds. But on that day, they left home under government orders and reported to a Japanese internment camp out in the desert, a sad and rarely discussed chapter in American history. Still eager to prove their loyalty to the U.S., like many others in these camps, the Harada sons volunteered and fought for the United States Army in the European theater. Released after the Japanese surrender, many internees found themselves homeless. But the Haradas returned from their unjust incarceration to find that Jess Stebler, a man they had served as a longtime boarder, had kept his promise to watch over their home, right down to their houseplants. During their incarceration, he had faithfully written them encouraging letters, and at one point even drove 200 miles out into the desert to give them 6 dozen donuts. Sadly, the elderly Harada parents passed away before the war ended, but their children were able to return to the home, and their daughter Sumi lived there throughout the 1990s, at which time it was made a National Historic Landmark to highlight this complex experience of people of Japanese descent living in the United States in the first half of the 20th century, highlighting the hardships imposed and the friendships offered as they became what we all are, Americans.